Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to bring this story to your attention. I noticed this story is not really being discussed in the mainstream media. Wonder why? The mainstream media that loves to call out so-called toxic masculinity is silent on this story. Now this story was brought to my attention by Powerlifter April, who I covered in a previous video. Over in Canada, she's having to deal with having to compete against a trans-identified male, Andreas. And, you know, a sport that depends on strength, we're expected to believe that biological males are not going to have an unfair advantage over women. We're expected to believe that for some reason. And this story involves another transgender athlete who exemplifies everything that we're supposed to be against when it comes to toxic masculinity. Yet the feminists have nothing to say. The mainstream media have nothing to say about it. But thankfully, the Strongman competition, the organisation behind that, they did take action. And this athlete has been suspended. Now we're told that these transgender athletes are victims. They're victims of discrimination. They're fighting for equality. They're fighting for inclusion. That's what we're told. But the reality is a different situation entirely. In fact, some of them end up being the ones who victimize, the female athletes in particular. The ones who stand up for themselves, the ones who speak out and say this isn't right. Usually they are the targets, and that's why a lot of them keep quiet. Now what the women had to endure at the hands of this transgender athlete is absolutely unacceptable. And I'm glad at least this person has been suspended. If anything, I think they should be banned forever. But you've obviously gone too far when you start harassing women, when you start threatening women, when you start taunting women. You've obviously gone too far and you need to be dealt with. So the athlete I'm talking about is Audrey Yun, who is a strongman competitor, a biological male. He was standing up for equality, apparently, and has even started a GoFundMe. So far raised $609. And this is what Audrey posted on Instagram. Man, I am so disgusted to go to the nationals and be around vile, evil bigots. Yeah. The competitors, the rep founders, etc. Too many of them. Just downright hateful and evil. Absolute bullies, the lot of them. So Audrey is accusing the women who stand up. These are the type of posts that Audrey makes, directed towards the women. I wonder if they'll have a problem with me pissing next to them at the venue. Yes, they will. They've already said so out loud. And this is what Icon reported. Male strongman competitor Audrey Yun taught female competitors about pissing next to them at the upcoming Strongman Corp Canadian Nationals on October 21 in Winnipeg. Young attacks competitors, reps and founders after Strongman Corp Canada changed eligibility guidelines for women's category in record speed after those are Maria Barwig and April Hutchinson and other female competitors spoke out against injustice in women's strength competitions. Young is set to compete in a new third category established in the sport, although recent vitriolic social media posts could have him banned for violating bullying and harassment policy. So yes, Young has been banned for 6 months, although I think it should be permanently. But thankfully, at least the strongman competition has introduced a third category. Now, April said that her federation, you know, the one with Andreas, they're still allowing males to compete, unfortunately, in the women's category. I don't want to be a transgender athlete's advocate. I don't want to spend my time justifying my existence or inclusion. I just want to do sports. P.S. F. April Hutchinson in particular. And if y'all support her in her transphobia and bigoted lawsuits, y'all can F right off with her. PPS. Supporting trans women in sports is supporting women's sports. Inclusion of all women only makes women's sports better. This person clearly is unhinged, at the very least is a bully, and has no problem harassing female competitors. Simply because of acknowledging that you're male and you will always be male and shouldn't be competing with women. And if you only want to do sports, you will gladly do the third category. You will gladly compete in the category that matches your biological sex, if that's all you wanted to do. This is what you have to deal with when you speak out and stand up for women's sports. This is just a fraction of what these female athletes have to deal with. And that's why a lot of them keep quiet. So I commend the ones who speak out. And the ones who keep quiet, I don't blame them. And nobody wants to have to deal with a male competitor talking to them this way, sending them these sort of messages. It's very threatening because, as you know, women are more vulnerable when it comes to dealing with harassment, particularly from men. It's very threatening. It makes you fearful. And I don't think any athlete should have to deal with this just because they want their sports to remain fair. And again, I ask, where are all the feminists? Where are all the people who call out toxic masculinity? Where are they? Icons, thankfully, have called it out. Female athletes have called it out. But where's their support? The mainstream media is silent on this. If a regular male athlete was caught sending these sort of messages to women, we would not hear the end of it. But because somebody identifies as a woman, they get a pass. In fact, if a woman sent these messages to another woman, to her competitors, she would probably get a lot of flack about it too. But we handle certain groups with kids' gloves and we let them get away with it. But thankfully in this case, at least, he's been suspended. So this is the GoFundMe. Obviously, if you want to donate to anything, you should donate to April Hutchinson's legal fund. That's what you need to be doing because she's fighting for women's sports and she has been threatened with suspension herself. Why? I don't even know. So Audrey writes, I have been banned and I'm no longer going to be competing at nationals. Those who donated, please read and message me privately if you would like me to refund you. I will refund every one of you who asks. Just know that while I was able to get a refund for some things, others could not be fully refunded, that I will pay you out of pocket. It's no big deal. The ban was because I had expressed my fears and frustrations regarding being in the presence of nasty, hateful bigots. I'm so sick of this rhetoric. Why doesn't Audrey post all of the nasty messages from the female athletes? Please post them so we know what you're talking about. Because so far, all I've seen is the nasty vitriol that Audrey has posted against women. That's all I've seen. I am not accusing Strongman Corporation of being these individuals in question, but referring to unnamed, unspecific individuals who would be present competitors and or otherwise, although you did say F. April Hutchinson. That sounds like naming somebody to me. Ones who seek not only to drive trans people out of sports, but out of bathrooms, shelters, jobs, housing, education, healthcare, and more. Absolute nonsense. They created a whole third category for this person, and they're still complaining about inclusion. Directly attacking a marginalized minority group and putting them at risk. Well, you know what? Historically, women are a marginalized group. But when you're in a so-called marginalized group, that doesn't give you the right to go around harassing people. That doesn't give you the right to go around threatening people. This group is so marginalized that they get to compete in whatever sport they want to, in whatever category they want to. I've seen transgender individuals, I don't know if they have gender dysphoria or anything like that, but I've seen them competing against children. They're even allowed to compete against children now. Grown men. So again, where's the marginalization? If anything, it's the tyranny of the minority that we're seeing. This is a tyrannical class of people who are going around expecting everybody to bend over backwards to accommodate their desires. And if you don't do that, you're all sorts of things, bigots and phobics. Someone said to me that the word transphobic is appropriate because a phobia is an irrational fear. But the concerns that these women have aren't irrational. This person is aggressive. That's not irrational to fear somebody like that. It's not irrational to not want that person in your locker room, for goodness sake, or your bathroom. That's not irrational. I am told I am a bully, that I am a man harassing and threatening women. That's exactly what you are. And that my comments were disturbing. No actions were taken when I'm on the receiving end of harassment, but privately venting frustrations and fears on a private platform to a select few group of followers meant that I breached code of conduct and was the instigator of harassment instead. Is Instagram a private platform? I don't care, even if your page is private, it's still not a private platform. It's not. It's Instagram, it's social media, even if your page is private. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to read all of this. It sucks to not be able to participate in sports, but that's not important in the grand scheme of things. I just wish the world doesn't continue its trajectory into being more hostile and unsafe for our marginalized minority groups. No, it's amazing how hostile this person has been, but yet you're accusing other people of being hostile. So people are supposed to just sit there and take it, basically. Sit there and take it. Take somebody who is essentially cheating. This is a biological male in a sport based on strength. And somehow, if we say that's unfair as women, we're the ones who are aggressive and bullying and all of these things. They can go on social media, say F you, F y'all. They can go and say all of those things. And that's how this works. And who has enabled this? These sporting federations, the media, these schools with their weird bathroom policies, everything that has allowed this tyranny to continue. They have enabled it. And that's why these people feel entitled. And yes, I said these people. I mean people like Audrey. You don't fit that category, then keep it moving. People like Audrey who have a sense of entitlement, who play victim, after they have been the aggressors, they have been enabled. And that's who I'm talking about. It's amazing how somebody can take no accountability for their harassment, for their threats, and yet turn around and claim that that's being done to them and want sympathy and donations, apparently. So Strongman Corporation Canada issues 6-month ban on male competitor after harassment of female athletes reported on his social media account. April posted, "Common sense finally wins. A big kudos to Strongman Corp for stepping up and protecting women. Weeks ago, they created a separate category for trans athletes, and now they have issued a 6-month ban to trans athlete Audrey Yun for calling his competitors bigots and transphobic." So that's good news. Someone posted, "We need Avi again." Yes, we do. I think Avi should show up to all of these competitions where there are trans-identifying males cheating, and he should just ruin the competition for them. I would love to see Audrey speak to Avi like that, or another male athlete. They're talking all that smack when it comes to female competitors. They got no problem speaking to female competitors like that. But let's see if the same thing happens if you're against male competitors. Let's see you post those sort of messages to the men. I mean, the men will probably just laugh, they probably won't even care, but still. And it's always great when the men stand up for women's sports too, because really it's your people and you've got to get your people in check. So we need more men like Avi fighting for women's sports too. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.